many tour stops and Kunet with the many tour stops he's been to. I definitely think he's shown an improvement.
It was towards the start of the year. It was towards the start of the year. He had his big accident where he forgot what tempo was doing and then just didn't trade his opponent and then didn't. And the sad thing for that tour is going into that tour, player thinks that I never want to make a mistake. Player thinks that I never want to make a mistake like the last. He has been doing a lot better since then. He has been doing a lot better since then. That just seems to be taking over. Seems to be taking over. Sidonia again. Sidonia again. He's one of those players that he's one of those players that by the big stage, but is not phased by the big stage. Maybe he hasn't been getting there as often as maybe his decent win record
does seem that way, and I'm also pretty interested to see their lineups. Just at first glance, it looks like there's going to be quite a few mirrors. There's coming up here. Both of them have coming up here. Both of them have both of them have Shudderwalk and Death Rattle, Shudderwalk and Hunter. It's only their druids that have difference. It's only their druids that have difference. All four classes are the same. All four classes are the same archetypes. Druids are different archetypes, and that one has the Taunt Druid, and that would be for Kunet has this Malagos Druid. So Kunet be in for kind of a long one, guys. We could be in for kind of a long one, guys.
Which is good because we keep trying to bring you more content than we have been bringing. But we have to wait for a game to finish to do that. And they were all just started their fifth game last round, so we weren't. But we have to wait for a game. If it's a long one, to do that, and cover the whole round. They were all just started their fifth game last round, so we weren't able to bring you one. So if it's a long one,
we do apologize about those long waits a while ago, guys. Yeah, and when a little bit of technical issues, but it seems like wins are running a bit more smoothly about those long waits a while ago. We were just waiting for the players to get a little bit of technical issues, but it seems like things are running a bit more smoothly now. That we are streaming. We're just waiting for the players to get set an APAC tour stop. Usually we kind of say that's day one. Yeah. And a lot of people have been asking for, well, show us how they got this far. And who went 7-0? That's really impressive. A pretty interesting thing that is that story and new stars could be born today. Stop. Usually we kind of skip day one. Much so, and a lot of people have been asking for, well, show us how they got this far. And who went 7-0? That's really impressive. We want to see. So this is that story, and new stars could be born today and throughout the next few days.
Very much so, and time again, especially because we're under the old system where even the way the tour is working out, those players often get like all these top. Some of the just finishers, and we would tell you about them, just bubbling under. Yeah, that's very, very close again. We have so many players here. Seeing down this list, people like Talion, who and under the old system where we years,
so much a ladder name for sure. I've definitely heard that name a ladder, but not so much in tournaments.
And we wouldn't be able to tell you about them.
And I'm glad to see that people, you know, when you have enough tour stops, you're bound to hit a place that is close to someone's home, and just close enough that if it's within the budget to go. A ladder name, that's for sure. I've definitely heard that name ladder, but it gives people chances to go where they're more comfortable. You know, when you have enough tour stops, you're bound to hit a place that is close to someone's home. You know, seasoned veterans just going to every stop to get as much points as great thing about the tour. You know, it gives people chances to gain as much experience where they're more comfortable or where they're choosing whether or not to commit competitive Hearthstone. And whether it's just, you know, seasoned veterans just going to every stop to get as much points as possible, or new people, you know, just trying to gain as much experience as they can before maybe choosing whether or not to commit to Hearthstone full time. It's just such a great jumping point.
At the moment, it's fantastic. We've seen it in so many different places. Is again just looking now, showing the full Swiss is a big part of that. Players on 2 and 0. Yeah, we've hardly shown the Swiss in any of a little bit early to see which of these players is going to make the story. At the moment, the reason we sort of many of the in general terms is, I'm just looking now, there's something like 31 players on 2 and 0. So not a little bit early to see which of these players is going to make the story, but many of the usual suspects up there.
Event here in the Suntech Convention Center that is going on. I'd just like to take the time to thank our sponsors for this event.
There are other games going on around the arena as well. So stage you see behind us at Hearthstone, but over there are 2 or 3 other esports taking place. So pretty packed, and tomorrow is a day where there are other games going on around the arena. That stage you see behind is going to have many cheering fans over there. There are other esports taking place. So
the promotional video for this event did have 2 Singaporeans, Sakura Knox and Katsu Curry, some of the biggest names in the scene, kind of featuring and talking about their journeys through Hearthstone. The promotional video for this event did have 2 Singaporeans. I did get word that there will be some of the biggest names in the scene here tomorrow, where and some of the pro local players can, and I'm sure they'll have a lot of fans watching tomorrow. And I did get word that there will be and ask them for advice on deck building and things like that. I heard about something like this going on in South Korea as well. Just stay there. It's very nice to have viewers interaction between ask them for advice on deck building and things like that. I heard about something like this going on in South Korea as well, and that scene was very nice to have the interaction between pro players and more casual viewers.
I do enjoy APAC in particular, just as good, but in a totally different experience. Fans get a lot. But yeah, seeing players signing sometimes in the West, they get different things. They get a LAN event in Taiwan. Just as good, but in a totally different experience. You get all of the. But yeah, seeing players signing, players on the stage, autographs, fans on the stage, get their photos taken with Taiwan at the end of the tournament, that sort of Christmas, and then it's a really good community. All of the other stuff that goes on here, like players.
So our schedule for today is to have 6 rounds of Swiss, as we mentioned a while ago. So 2 of those are already done, and we are getting ready for round 3. Today is to have maybe a couple more games, as we mentioned a while ago. So 2 of those are already done, and we are getting ready for round 3. I think maybe a couple more games will be the ones competing over there on stage. We do have our 4, 5, 6. I do assume it'll be the people who have currently gone through will be the ones competing over there on stage.
Maybe the last
for round 4, 5, 6. I do assume it'll be the people who have.
Let's have a look what they are playing for here in this tournament. That's usually how it looks. Until you get maybe the last round when you don't need the live O's, because let's have a look what they are playing for here in this tournament. A lot of money.
It is $3,500 US dollars for first place. First up, and generally the points are the big prize here. All the way to the top $32 US dollars for first place. Talk to me a little bit about why the points are so important this year. All the way to the top.
So we have now the Master System.
And talk to me a little bit about why the points are so important this year.
And each of those. So we have now the Master System. You get rewards. So the 1 stars just basically get into a tournament with all the other 3 stars, and each of those tiers. When you get to 2 star, you start to get. So the 1 stars just basically get into a tournament with all the other masters with thousands of dollars of prizes. When you get to 2 star, you start 3 stars, and you actually get 3 of those per season. And the number of points difference between each tier is 50. So 3 stars, and you actually get a lot of those per season. 15 for winning. And the number of points is a third of the way from whatever level you currently are. So 15 all the way up to the next. You get a lot of points for ladder 2.
And for anyone who isn't familiar with competitive Hearthstone, aside from joining and winning at tour stops, the other way that you can earn points who isn't familiar with competitive Hearthstone is to finish on ladder and winning at tour stops. The other way that you can, at the end of the month, the last few days, these Masters players are scrambling on every server that they can afford to play on to get that finish. At the end of the month, the last few days, all these pro players are scrambling on every server that they can afford to play on to get that finish. And that high legend every month is basically equivalent to placing well in a tour stop. To camp around top 25, and that points from every month is basically equivalent to placing well in a tour stop as well.
Top 25 is 15, which is the GigaCon equivalent of winning one. Yeah, we have the site in Oslo, which is camping out on tables in between rounds to play their ladder. Unfortunately, just getting the news, we are going to have to take another short break. We saw these players camping out on tables in between rounds to play their ladder. Back in a moment. Unfortunately, just getting the news, we are going to have to take another short break to set up this round. So after that little discussion, we'll be back in a moment with the action.
I live to build things. We hit bombs mostly. So come work with me, and we'll create all kinds of new inventions to build things. We hit bombs mostly. So you can come with us, and we'll create all kinds of new inventions to build bombs mostly. You can come with your success. You can work with us, when you work with us.
Mechanical, pneumatic, or the robot arms. Smashing everything. Ginormous mechanical, pneumatic, or the robot arms. Smashing everything.
Skills to my team and we're exploding with opportunity. Come at your skills to my team and
revealing location of semi-secret lab is punishable by death.
Exploding with opportunity.
Dr. Boom is not responsible for severed, exploded, or lost body parts. Revealing location of semi-secret lab is punishable by death.
Apply now.
I'm Samuel, known as Saquinox, and I will be representing Team Resurgence in the upcoming HCT Singapore Tour Stop. I'm Samuel, known as Saquinox, and I will be representing Team Resurgence. After completing my mandatory military service, I decided to put my university studies on hold in order to pursue my esports dream. After completing my mandatory military service, I've always competed in various other my university studies on hold in order to pursue my esports card games. Prior to Hearthstone to be deeply intriguing as well, in various other card games, my esports journey always appreciated the strategic person by nature, and that pushed me to aim for high legend ladder intriguing as well, and was always looking for local tournaments to participate in. I'm a competitive person by nature, and that pushed me to aim for high legend ladder these tournaments have allowed me to do so. I was always looking for local tournaments to participate in. My motivation did not understand my own strengths, and I decided to take a huge leap of faith these tournaments at the beginning of this year. I stepped down from my full-time tutoring job. My motivation did not waver. And I decided to take a huge leap of faith at the beginning of this year. I stepped down from my full-time tutoring job. I've always wanted to play Hearthstone at the highest level. Singapore's biggest esports organization on the world stage. And I've been actively training for HCT my best to achieve I've always wanted to play Hearthstone competitively at the highest level. I recently finished 5th and to represent Singapore APAC 4 playoffs, which is why I'm more than excited to participate in the upcoming HCT tour. I recently finished 5th in the HCT APAC 4 playoffs, and I'm more than excited to participate in the upcoming HCT tour.
My name is Jin, also known as Katsukari, and I used to spin as a DJ at various clubs and bars in Singapore before joining Resurgence. My name is Jin, also known as Katsukari, and I used to spin as a DJ at various clubs and bars in Singapore before joining Resurgence as a competitive Hearthstone. After gaining the satisfaction of multiple high legend finishes ever since I was a kid, and it was only natural that I started playing. I believe I can work harder to see how far I can go. After gaining the satisfaction, the transition in my career legend finishes, I decided to start playing again that I'm able to represent Singapore. I believe I can work harder to see how far I can go. The transition in my career path may seem awkward to some, but I'm just glad that I'm able to represent Singapore and continue doing something like that.
So, the previous HCT Singapore tour stop was won by a fellow Singaporean, and we as Singaporeans will be sure that we will take it down again. So, see you at HCT Singapore.
What are you doing? I love you. Thank you so much.
Whoa, James, what the frickety frick? Whoa!
The whole gifting subs thing, that is magical.
Back again to HCT Singapore. We're sorry for that delay, but something needed sorted out. Where were we, Jeff? Talking about the match. Back again to HCT Singapore. We're sorry for that delay, but something good sorted out. Where were we, Jeff? Talking about the match, I think, between Sidonia and his opponent. Good, thank you.
No worries about that. Yes, these are two players that have maybe not had the most spectacular performances, and they have very similar lineups to boot. And in the Hearthstone, it seems like they both have this even lock, and they have very similar lineups. Sorry, the Druids are different for these players, but they both have this even lock, Death Rattle, Hunter. As expected, they both the Druids are different for these players, but they both do have good matchups across the board. And the difference in Druid that I mentioned is that Sidonia, sorry about that typo, he is not Siodina. He has a Hunt Druid, banned away their Death Rattle Hunters because these seem like the decks that have good matchups across the board.
Yeah, it should be pretty close on either side, I feel this. One thing I wanted to mention about Kunat, just before we get started on game one, that I haven't mentioned, he gets to travel a lot. I mean, Sidonia travels quite a bit, but Kunat sort of is dual citizenship, so he goes to America and he comes back to APAC and then goes back again. On either side, I gets to play a lot of these events. One thing I wanted to mention about Kunat, just before we get started on game one, that I haven't mentioned, he gets to travel a lot. I mean, Sidonia travels quite a bit. Kunat sort of is dual citizenship, so he goes to America and he comes back to APAC and then goes back again and gets to play a lot of these events. So I think it must be quite helpful to do that on a regular basis.
What's the latest? And of course, America's always advantage in that region, being I think a student in America, although Canada's been performing really well recently as well, and Sidonia communicate with both of the Taiwanese region has so many good players. What's the meta? What's the latest? And of course, America's always been a strong region in the Swiss so far. And although Canada's been performing really well recently as well, and Sidonia is here to prove it. The Taiwanese region has so many good players.
You sometimes see when you see China play against, say, EU, like in the recent tournament, you see a lot of the Chinese players don't have that input from around the world. So they seem to be a little bit out of touches over the top. They seem to be not quite up to date with the meta. It's a big deal. You sometimes and we are actually into the Hearthstone game. You don't have to listen to me. Like in the recent tournament, you see a lot of the Chinese players don't have that input from around the world. So they seem to be a little bit out of touches over the top. They seem to be quite up to date with the meta sometimes. And we are actually into the Hearthstone game. You don't have to listen to me doing that thing that I do any longer. We can actually discuss the Hearthstone
play and it will be fabled with a good old-fashioned giant on even lock mirror. And what we do know from this is that player with the giant also has the coin, so Sidonia will
one silence, whereas there's Black Knight in the deck for Sidonia, which is a big deal when we're talking about who could get their 7/7 choices here. Kunat does only
early game check is often
one silence, whereas there's Black Knight in the deck
even though he doesn't have a giant of
Sidonia,
which
is a big deal when we're talking about who could get their 7/7, their hook reavers to stick first.
Which will prevent early game check is often a battle of giants, and we can see that Kunat, even though he doesn't have a giant of his own, he has the next best thing. Kunat can also fit into tap by doing this into his turn 3, which will prevent Sidonia's giant, and that means Kunat will be able to stick his Twilight Drake first. Sorry, a 3-cost really big deal in the matchup.
Yeah, very much so. Although it's really weird because the first 15 turns, even though you're jostling for that advantage, and sometimes getting the first big minion to stick just wins you the game, a lot of the time it just cancels out and you get into this really very much so. Although it's really weird because the first 4-mana card 15 turns, even though you're jostling for that torturous thing, that's why I look at the first big minion what the Black Knight is going to do, because it's a way to a lot of the time it just cancels out when you start running out of resources. Slow, who's got the best 4-mana card left in their deck. Sort of torturous thing, that's why I was looking at sort of what the Black Knight was going to do, just because it's a way to kill off a 7/7 when you start running out of resources a long time from now.
I expect that his choice is Defile and smaller minions when possible, just because of the possibility of this Black Knight. And speaking of, he cannot tap there because he's already on 10 and he was forced to dump a Twilight Drake. His choice is Defile, and it actually it doesn't get going to come down this turn in the matchup at all. And speaking of,
yeah, he looks like he's intent on getting down to 15 as quickly as possible and just taking his chance with the Hooked Reaver, which again, Sidonia is playing the Black Knight, so see if that works out for him. Maybe I'm misreading the situation, but it does look like he's going to get there as quickly as he can, taking his chance with the Hooked Reaver, which again, Sidonia is playing the Black Knight, so see if that works out for him. Maybe I'm misreading the situation, but it does look like he's going to get there as quickly as he can.
When you have like a Spellstone to follow up and clean up the rest of the health of the giant, but Kunat, and in that case, the Twilight Drake is very well challenged. That is the reasoning for going to have like a spellstone to follow up and clean up the rest of the health of the giant. But
now it's thinking time.
Didn't have
How does he
additional
want to
spells
proceed
so
dealing with this giant? You can't let it hang around for long. And Twilight Drake and Homunculus just don't get that job done thinking time at all. How does he want to proceed Swampoos and challenge dealing with this giant? You can't let it hang around for long. Seems really and Twilight Drake and Homunculus just don't get that job done physically at all.
The good thing about the
Why want to play the
Homunculus
Swampoos
is
and
that
challenge
it
it with a
will absorb an attack
Hellfire?
from this giant because
seems really
Sidonia hasn't
clunky
played
though to
any
do it that way.
self-damaging cards, so like just getting the Twilight Drake down. The good thing about the Homunculus is that it is 2/4. I guess the worst thing you could have done for a Kuonet there is to coin a Black Knight, but then again, you don't really necessarily want to use that onto a 2/4 anyway.
I agree that we'll play this weird dance when they both get under 15. Exactly who wants to go to Vivi's first. Sidonia would be the person to do that.
Sidonia
again,
hasn't played
everything else
any
is equally
self-damaging
major.
cards
Stop
there,
with this
so
giant
he
yet, and
cannot have
all
used
that
the
discussion
spellstone
will
at
be
this
for
point to
nothing.
simply clear off the 2/4. Kuonet going into his turn. I guess the worst thing you could have done for a Kuonet there is to coin a Black Knight, but then again, you don't really necessarily want to getting down to a 2/4 anyway.
I agree that we'll play this weird dance when they both get under 15. Exactly who wants to play the Vivi's first. Sidonia would be the person to do that. And again, if everything else is equally major, stop with this giant yet, and all that discussion will be for nothing.
I have seen players go as far as foregoing a giant attack to the face just so it doesn't activate their opponent's Hook Reaver.
Yeah, it's a difficult decision to make, because if they haven't got it, then you win the game. If they have got it, you can still put the giant into it quite often as well.
Kuonet actually going into his turn 6 has decent 6 drops. Actually, I really like this because kind of am in favor of just getting one of these challenge the stats of the giant. Drake would put it at 8 health and just definitely has command of the board, but he will have to be careful about how much damage he wants all about these Hook Reavers. I have seen players go as far as foregoing a giant attack to the face, just so it
Yeah, well, the other thing with that turn is he ended up with nothing on board at the end of the turn. Yes. So whatever Sidonia did here, because they haven't got still going to have attackers advantage. Still put the giant into it quite often as well. And a lot of resources used there for Kuonet, so he's going to be playing catch-up for a long time to come now.
Actually, I really like this. With start with a Twilight Drake would put it at 8 health and just have it die to a value. You can play a 2-drop behind it. Kuonet realizes it's all about being scared of Black downside of Hellfire. Don't actually know if you can afford to play around it. I think it's just too much.
Yeah, well, the other thing with that turn is he ended up with nothing on board at the end of the turn. So whatever Sidonia did here, he was still going to have attackers advantage no matter what. And a lot of resources. Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. I think that he's considering, can I afford to worry about the Black Knight? And he will come to the conclusion that if it's there, he's lost anyway, I think. So, or not lost, but in grave danger anyway.
If you're scared of Black Knight,
eventually
I don't actually know if you can afford to play
We'll see him
around
play
it.
something else, especially now he's drawn this Twilight Drake, which he could possibly use as a roadblock for a turn or two. Then it's because he's scared of the Black Knight.
That's really scary not having a taunt. It looks like
yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. I think that he's considering, can I afford to worry about the Black Knight? And he will come to the conclusion that if it's there, he's lost anyway, I think. So, or not lost, but in grave danger anyway. And so eventually he'll probably come to that conclusion. If we see him play something else, especially now he's drawn this Twilight Drake, which he could possibly use as a roadblock for turn or Sidonia now, then it's because he's scared that any face attack would actually get the job done. So with the Gul'dan in hand, we might see him striking to develop more demons, another Hook Reaver. Then he's going to work out how he wants to place those attacks.
And having the Spellbreaker definitely like gets rid of some of the stats in the here. I think he can makes it so that probably make a read that if Kuonet had the Black Knight, it would have come down with last turn.
Maybe he won't want to waste mana. He might go for the Dread Infernal so that he can make a good Sidonia now Beetle and keep his unlikely alive. Any face attack would actually get the job done.
I was looking at something like
so with the Gul'dan in hand, we might see him try to develop more demons. Another Hook Reaver.
Spellstone would not have been.
Then he's going to work out how he wants to place those attacks.
Definitely don't mind the Dread Infernal either. Definitely like.
Yeah, I think the point of keeping the coin is so that he can be the first one to play Gul'dan.
Probably make a read that if Kuonet had the Black Knight,
that seems to be his plan right now. The point of playing the Dread Infernal is waste money. You might go for the Dread Infernal, so get your demons down and then get the Gul'dan to get them back while his Hook Reaver alive at 1.
Definitely agree, coining Gul'dan first is often. I was looking at something like prior to this having a now Kuonet coin Spellstone, but it is a very weak Spellstone would not have been upgraded. Definitely don't mind the Dread Infernal either.
Yeah, I think the point of keeping the coin is so that he can be the first one to play Gul'dan.
At least the other
that seems to be his plan right now. And the point of playing the Dread Infernal is in keeping with that. Just give Sidonia a great get your demons down and then get the Gul'dan to trade in. Hellfire, play his own Hooked Reaver, which he wants to do anyway because Gul'dan's on the way. And he'll have a 7-7 versus nothing and then Gul'dan the turn after. I'm not saying that makes it wrong for Kunat. I think the best way to defend is how he's gone about this. But Sidonia's managed to develop this board in such a way that's going to be really annoying for Kunat.
At least the other one challenges both the remaining minions on board for Sidonia.
Does give Sidonia a great turn if that happens. He gets to just trade in Hellfire, play his own Hooked Reaver, which he wants to do anyway because Gul'dan's on the way. And he'll have a 7-7 versus nothing and then Gul'dan the turn after. I'm not saying that makes it wrong for Kunat. I think the best way to defend is how he's gone about this. But Sidonia's managed to develop this board in such a way that's going to be really annoying for Kunat.
There are some bone mare options, I suppose, going for the preemptive trade, because if you buff the Dreadlord, it can technically have the Hellfire trade onto one of the Dreadlords, but it's very weak to a Defile or Dreadlord coming out from the other side, so I do like the Hellfire play that you just suggested.
Any other options there that make any sense?
Developing your own 7-7 uncontested when both of the Hooked Reavers are already out of contention for Kunat seems super strong. It's also just another demon that if it gets cleared next turn, it makes Coin Gul'dan even stronger. If you buff the Dreadlord, it can technically actually take a value trade onto one of the Dreadlords, but it's very weak to a Defile or Dreadlord coming out from the other side, so I do like the Hellfire play that you just suggested. And then developing your own 7-7 uncontested when both of the Hooked Reavers are already out of contention for Kunat seems super strong. It's also just another demon that if it gets cleared
try and push through
next turn, it makes Coin Gul'dan even stronger. Knowing that the one Spellbreaker for Kunat has already been played and that Kunat doesn't run a Black Knight of his own, I guess Sidonia can do this a little bit more safely. I did think though that it was kind of a sad way to trade off your minion.
Yeah, it felt like a lot of damage going into 1-7. So he's just going to try and push through. That's something we talked about with Just Saying actually on his insane run.
Knowing that the one Spellbreaker for Kunat has already been played and that Kunat doesn't run a Black Knight of his own,
Kunat has had a lot of tough turns in a row here.
A little bit more safely. His hand has been though that heavily minion based. He's kind of a sad way to trade off throughout the game so far.
Yeah, it felt like a lot of damage going into 1-7-7.
I think he's aching for a spell.
That's something we talked about with Just Saying actually on his insane run. He almost never has to overkill a minion. Everything needs to be set up so precisely. I guess he's got quite a bit of health he can put some Furies in the way with. Kunat has had a lot of tough Sidonia is threatening to
his hand
make
has
absolute
been
havoc
heavily minion based. He's drawn hardly any spells
and the Spellbreaker between them.
And I think he's aching for a Spellstone pretty soon. Double 4-drop seemed like the natural play here.
I guess he's got quite a bit of health he can put some Furies in the way with.
Well, it's not like the Shroom Brewer going
phase. This is just going to be lethal. It's threatening to make absolute havoc for now. So yeah, that's better. Spellstone not quite Spellbreaker between
them. There you go. It's a little bit short. Double 4-drop seemed like the natural play here.
Decision time for Sidonia. Obviously, he wants to coin Gul'dan and he's expecting an opposing Gul'dan.
Well, it's not like the Shroom Brewer going phase.
It's just going to be lethal. So many nice plays as well. Just double check himself. So yeah, that's better. It's not quite lethal.
There you go. Coining Gul'dan and then sending the giant face, I think, prevents your opponent from just playing their own Gul'dan. Because they only have one taunt behind it.
Decision time for Sidonia. Obviously, he wants to coin Gul'dan and he's expecting an opposing Gul'dan. Wow. But not so many nice plays normally does, but he did start jumping himself with Dread Infernal. I don't think he's expecting early on. Strong spot going into turn 9. Sure this will
Pointing Gul'dan and then sending the giant face, I think, prevents your opponent from just playing their own Hellfire and Dread. Because they only have one taunt behind it, and you have so many minions. You might be able to use that to trade. Ridiculous. The way the board has worked out.
Not what Gul'dan normally does, but he did start jumping right from Dread Infernal
play down some minions and Sun Fury, but yeah, that is not going to stop these annoying Vulgar Ego. Sidonia is going to take a win. The first of the series did a pretty good job of cleaning up the board without killing off your 4-4, and you might be able to use that to trade. The way the board has worked out, the only thing
just getting that out of the way
is play down some minions and Sun Fury, but yeah, that is not going to stop Lethal. So there you go, Sidonia is going to take a win. The first of the series in the mirror. If somebody has to queue their Shutter Walk into other person's taunt through it, that would be pretty miserable because that
just
is
getting that
not
out
the
of
greatest
the
matchup
way
for the Shutterwalk
come down to
Shaman.
Q
And
order
I
a
do
little
think
bit
that
who
Shutterwalk
gets
struggles
favourables
against
going
the
forward,
field in
because it is.
general, but all of the
It's the
decks
lineups we
did.
keep talking about.
Sorry, the field in
No,
this
I was
lineup
giggling because I quite often think to myself, Shutterwalk just struggles against everything in general anyway. So I know it has good matchups, obviously, in fact they're quite polarised, but
not the greatest
we've seen Shutterwalk
matchup
just do
for
so badly in
Shutterwalk
tournaments in
Shaman,
general.
and I do think
with
that
the
Shutterwalk
exception maybe
struggles against
last
the
week.
field in
Sure,
general,
but
but all of the decks
the
did.
sets that
Sorry, the field in
No,
Shutterwalk
I was
was
giggling because I
actually
quite often
taking
think to
some
myself,
wins
Shutterwalk
against
just
Zoo and
struggles against
Oddgrove.
everything in general
Of
anyway.
course, backed
So I know
by
it has good matchups, obviously, in fact they're quite
skilled
polarised, but
piloting, which
yeah,
is
that's what
definitely
Shutterwalk do so
necessary.
badly in tournaments in general, with the exception maybe Mitsuhide last week.
Sure, but like this.
So
the
1 to
sets
0
that
it
we've
is
seen
about
on
the
stream
Q
today,
order.
Shutterwalk
Just
was
have a
actually taking some
quick
wins
mention,
against
Sidonia's
Zoo and
won
Oddgrove.
80 matches this year. What about his
Of course,
experience
backed by
levels? He's won
sufficiently
80 Hearthstone
skilled
matches, and we've only seen him
piloting,
one.
which
Yeah,
is
that's probably
definitely
doesn't help
necessary.
anyway. Yeah. So probably counting
Not
that quite a year trying out my Shutterwalk.
Yeah. I don't actually
So
know
1 to
what
0
the
it is about
standard
the
amount
Q
is. I'm
order.
sorry, I know
So 80
you're the
matches.
numbers
We'll
guy.
play
right?
6 won 80 matches this year. What about his experience
Okay.
levels? 80 this year. That's 80 Hearthstone matches, and we've only seen him once
So
really on stream.
that's
A
like
lot.
doing
So
pretty well in
not that
around
quite a year.
15
Oh,
Swiss.
yeah.
I don't actually know
like
what the
that.
standard amount
So
is.
he's
I'm
won
sorry,
80.
I know
So 80
you're the
matches.
numbers
We'll
guy.
play
Linda.
6 today. Pretty good percentage. That's 6. Just
Okay.
not. He's won 8 going through, but yeah, it's like top. That's how much Hearthstone they're playing.
So
Numbers.
that's
It's
like
a lot. Normally goes for
doing
4 or 5 wins.
So I don't mean to put you on the spot here, Lorinda, but if you could just give me off the top of your head the number of matches that maybe Hunter Ace or Justin has won this year, so I know what the top of the bar is.
Hunter Ace has won 140, I think, 130. I could just quickly check because I've got a button here that does it for me. Might as well do that live on stream, huh?
Wow, but it's impressive that you could come up with a number.
Hunter Ace 129.
Oh, wow. Yeah, 130, you were saying that.
So I'll take that. And yeah, Saiyan's actually not quite got to 100 yet.
Wow. So I guess that just means
he just wins.
At the tournament, at the matches he does play, the win rate is insane. So you don't actually have to play that many, I suppose. But we are going to go into the next game quite soon. These players are looking a little bit, I don't know, just calm. Both of them have a lot of experience in tour stops, you'd say.
Yeah, Sidonia, it's good to see him calm. Some days he seems calm and some days he seems a little bit on edge, but he looks super relaxed here today to me. And Kuanet always looks super relaxed. It's definitely one of his stronger traits. Like I say, he has been known to make those mistakes, but they are a long way behind. And I can't remember where his last top 16 is. I want to say Oakland, but I'm not going to swear to that. I seem to remember he looked incredibly calm in that tournament, and I felt like he might even go and win it.
So it will be the Q block on its second try for Kuanet up against the Taunt Druid for Sidonia. And I feel like Taunt Druid should have kind of a leg up here as long as they're able to answer those Mountain Giants in the early game, namely with Naturalize, which we see enters the hand.
Doesn't look like the worst hand at all here. Nothing exciting, no ramp, so that's not good. But the Naturalized backup, the Oakland Summons to slow things down, thin things out.
Yeah, it's just solid to have those out of the way before you draw both Ironwood Golems that we saw from Failey a while ago, although he still did manage to take the win in that series.
He was up against the worst hand ever.
Oh, true.
I've never seen a subject. I mean, I'm one of these people who sort of gets on the back of Subject 9 Hunter players, but that was just the most awful hand I've ever seen.
It definitely was up there, I should agree, but we are on to this series now, and Sidonia misses the Wild Growth on 2, which Kuanet should be pretty happy to see, but he does have some pretty key cards already. Hadronox is definitely the way that you need to win this matchup. Without the full Hadronox combos, you don't quite get to outvalue the Gul'dan hero power.
But no ramp at all for Sidonia, and Kuanet has got 3 of his big 4 drops.
Yeah.
Although now Oakheart has turned up, so we're no-ish away from Sidonia having a great hand.
Yeah.
But these Giants, this Twilight Drake, are going to do very good work indeed.
We're going to come out on consecutive turns. We saw Sidonia there forego the hero power. Definitely something you want to do in this matchup. You don't need to push face, just delay the Hook Reaver as much as you can. And Sidonia only has this first Naturalize to clear off the first Giant, but in the following turns, he may not have the stuff to survive the next ones.
Picks up the Ironwood Golem, that puts him in dodgy ground as well with these Oakland Summoners. This hand could be like, apart from the Master Oakheart that you always want, could just be too slow and too clunky right now, given that Kuanet's hand is pretty fast.
Yeah. Looking at the list for Sidonia, it is one of the more greedy ones with the double Witching Hour still. He has 1 Wrath in there, and no Tar Creepers or the 1/5. I never remember the name of it, but
Poisonous poison thing.
Yeah, poisonous poison thing. Definitely call it that.
Pretty sure that's what it's called.
But he does still have the second Dragon Hatcher and second Sleepy Dragon. Some people cut those, surprisingly enough.
Protecting the Giant, no Naturalize for Sidonia. He's going to start taking some lumpy looking damage. Of course, it takes a lot of lumpy damage to get through all this armor and this taunt and this general mucking about, but Kuna is building a bigger and bigger board, so that board is going to snowball into a terrifying board really soon.
Kuna has the option to just aggressively use Spellstone and Defile here, not in that order, to clear off the Ironwood Golem and be able to push face with the Giant, but he also has the opportunity to just drop this Twilight Drake, get it developed. You damage your Giant a little bit, but it's only Spellstone or second Naturalize that could kill it at 5 health. It's not weak to swipe, so I wouldn't hate playing out the Drake here.
Spellbreaker, not an option. There's too much you want later to hit with that, I think. Make sure that Sidonia never has, because there's only one Spellbreaker in his deck. If he plays it, Sidonia can just leave Hadronox chilling on the board. Yeah. And you don't want to give him that ease, especially when one of his Naturalizers is gone. You want to make it awkward for him.
Yeah, if Sidonia actually doesn't draw into any ramp soon, I feel like Kuanat might even have the chance to possibly Spellbreaker a bigger minion and just push face, but you actually just
He thinks he gets there.
Yeah.
He thinks that this attack is big enough that he doesn't need to worry about Hadronox nonsense. He is just going to punch Sidonia really hard, and he feels that, and that was a long think, so he knew what he was letting himself in for. He thinks he gets over the finish line with this attack.
This awful, heavy draw for Sidonia that looks like a 50 mana hand or something. Forced to play out the second Ironwood because Oaken Summons is not going to pull anything else out.
So he knows now what he's up against, and he hasn't got many options available to try and withstand this attack. Kuanet may have read this right.
So the removal spell has to be Amethyst Spellstone here because Hellfire clears off most of Kuanet's board. That is, if he wants to use the Spellstone at all. It still means he would have to trade something like the Ooze along with it, so I don't mind just developing the Twilight Drake here. Making a really strong taunt wall.
Yeah, this is so cool. This is just going for Giant all of the way. That's why he's only put up the Drake, yeah.
Very smart. 3-4, if it had been able to attack the Giant, might have been able to soften it up for something like a fully upgraded Spellstone, so definitely heads up from Kunat there. And Sidonia can finally play out some of his minions, but man, they got eaten up by Giants.
Yeah, this Giant is, again, Kunat sort of laid it on the table. I'm just going to try and kill you with this Giant. And looks like he may well manage to just sneak there.
Bit of a curious trade of the Ironwood Golem there for Kunat, for Sidonia. Not quite sure what it plays around. In any case, Kunat with the Shroom Brewer is in a really strong position because he can take a value trade with the Giant and heal it back up to 8-6 again. He can also develop a second Drake. That is a really strong draw, by the way.
So just double checking that it was indeed Oakland. The Kuanet did that thing in top 8. And look at this board now. And this all goes all the way back to turn 4 when he Spellbreakered. Yeah. Just declaring, I'm going to kill you with this board. You've used Naturalize, I'm going to get you. And looks like he's right.
Mario Drake, kind of sad, only able to clear off one minion. And with the help of Spellstone, this will just be lethal with 16 points of minion damage available on board still. Sidonia is going... Kunat's going to tie up the series 1-1. Both players even locked are now out of contention.
Yep, Kuanet working out that there wasn't much going on there. As soon as he saw there was no ramp, already seen a Naturalize and just going wider and wider and wider, protecting up the Twilight Drake so that the Giant could actually have the protection, because taunting up isn't really protecting, it's just throwing something in the firing line.
Yeah, personally when I play Even Lock against Taunt Druid, I kind of tend to save the Spellbreaker, not necessarily for Hadronox when I have the early Giant start, but for a bigger taunt rather than the 3-6. It's like if you maybe sacrifice some points of Giant attack to the face now, then you get to get... you save about 8 points of minion damage going into a Primordial Drake later on if you have the Spellbreaker. But Quinette spotted just that he had such strong minion pressure in his hand, and every turn was able to develop more stuff, that not having the Spellbreaker later on didn't matter at all.
Yeah, he sensed a bit of weakness there in the ramp as well, so he knew roughly how long it would take him. And yeah, he got it done before Sidonia started playing the big guns, so levels it up at 1-all.
Yeah, it was kind of a bad draw for Sidonia, I gotta say though. 0 ramp and only the first naturalize to clear off anything. But because we are done with our second game, we are gonna go off to a quick break before we bring you the conclusion of this series.
Hey there, I'm Dr. Bo. I live to build things. Bombs mostly. So come work with me, and we'll create all kinds of new inventions. Bombs mostly.
Science!
You can go into success with no regrets when you work with Dr.
Technology!
Work with the best and the pride when you work with Dr.
Ginormous mechanical pneumatic gorilla robot arms for smashing everything!
What he said.
Come add your skills to my team at Boom Laboratories. We're exploding with opportunity.
Dr. Boom is not responsible for severed, exploded, or lost body parts. Revealing location of semi-secret lab is punishable by death.
Apply now!
I'm Samuel, known as Sequinox, and I will be representing Team Resurgence in the upcoming HCT Singapore Tour stop. After completing my mandatory military service, I decided to put my university studies on hold in order to pursue my esports dream. Prior to Hearthstone, I've always competed in various other card games, and I've always appreciated the strategic aspect of these card games. I found Hearthstone to be deeply intriguing as well, and that was where my esports journey began. I'm a competitive person by nature, and that pushed me to aim for high legend ladder finishes, and was always looking for local tournaments to participate in. I wanted to understand my own strengths and weaknesses, which these tournaments have allowed me to do so. Despite a rocky 2017,
Blackjar, what are you doing? I love you. Thank you so much.
Whoa, Jazz, what the frickity frick? Whoa!
The whole gifting subs thing, that is magical.
My name is Jin, also known as Katsukari, and I used to spin as a DJ at various clubs and bars in Singapore before joining Resurgence as a competitive Hearthstone player. I've always enjoyed playing card games ever since I was a kid, and it was only natural that I started playing Hearthstone. After gaining the satisfaction of multiple high legend finishes, I decided to start playing the game competitively. I believe I can work harder to see how far I can go. The transition in my career path may seem awkward to some, but I'm just glad that I'm able to represent Singapore and continue doing something I love.
the previous HCT Singapore Tour stop was won by a fellow Singaporean, and we as Singaporeans will be sure that we will take it down again. So, see you at HCT Singapore.
Welcome back. We are halfway through the match between Kuanet, remember this time, and Cydonia, and it is one game apiece. Both won with their even lock, and so really nothing has changed from the start. We're now getting into the crux of the action, Gia, where we're going to get to see these shudder walks and what they can do.
Congrats on remembering something in your old age, Lorinda.
We'll get in there.
No, I have no excuse. I forget things all the time, and
it's okay,
I'm like less than half your age. I really gotta rub that in. I'm so sorry. But anyway, yes, both Cydonia and Kuanet have had their even locks win a game already, so that means they are left with their druids and Shudderwalk shamans.
Malygos Druid for Kuanet, Taunt Druid for Cydonia. Do you feel that gives either side a particular edge, or is it not that much to choose when it comes to that?
Yeah, I find it a bit interesting that the Malygos Druid was included, because when I see this kind of lineup with the slow kind of anti-control decks, more often than not people choose their Druid to be Taunt Druid. That was very strongly represented in EU versus CN. If we were seeing Malygos Druids, it was in more aggressive lineups, but this may be a choice of a comfort deck for Kuanet. I know a lot of people actually just swear by Malygos Druid.
Yeah, Orange in particular, he just won't leave it alone, even no matter what is the right choice.
Right. And given that Odd Warrior is very much out of the Conquest meta recently, I feel like it's a decent bring to still be able to combo out certain decks and maybe get the job done more consistently than Taunt Druid might.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what they queue. Obviously with the Shudderwalks in the mix, it's great to see Shudderwalk back. I mean, I never thought I'd be saying those words. Yeah. Probably getting crucified right now, but I think when Shudderwalk was overwhelming the meta, it was too much. But then it's kind of an interesting deck when you only see it a little bit. I wouldn't like it to be full of Shudderwalks again. That's a bit much.
Yes, and it is, however, not going to be a mirror, thankfully, because Cydonia is queuing up his Taunt Druid again. And I would say that this matchup is really difficult for Shudderwalk to take a win with, unless you just get the super early Shudderwalk. It's one of those matchups where you kind of want Hemet in the list, although the rest of them don't really justify having it.
Yeah, just this and the mirror, but again, I've just been talking about how Shudderwalk's not been that big a thing recently, so there's no reason to tech for either of those two things, and it's so bad against so many other things.
Yeah, and the reason that Shudderwalk struggles is that beyond having 2 hexes, they just do not have volcanoable boards to actually clear. As soon as Cydonia is able to put down those big dragons, they at some point will not be able to be answered, and just sticking one board along with maybe a branching pass is enough to get the job done as the Taunt Druid.
Yeah, and Shudderwalk is probably the slowest combo deck in the game. It relies on stalling out with its minions as much as anything else. We're down to 1 Acolyte of Pain in a lot of these builds now, so even the card draw is starting to thin down a bit.
Yeah, it is kind of a deck that might have alternate win conditions sometimes, though we saw a while ago that somebody took a win with Shudderwalk just going face a lot, and then Shudderwalk just to finish the game with 6 points of damage with their Life Drinker. But speaking of previous games, Cydonia didn't hit ramp last time, but now he has that Wild Growth and that Nourish. He has Hadronox in the hand, but he did go for the ramp with the Nourish. I actually would have liked to see him think a little bit more about that. Most of the draws in his deck justify the ramp, but yeah, this Hadronox is not going to get played for a while.
Yeah, interesting how fast he's playing actually. Cydonia, not a quick player most times, so if he's doing something quickly, I feel like that's a bit of a tell that you've got very few options, and maybe he was wanting to convey that.
So he does have options to keep thinning out the deck, though. Oaken Summons can pick up one of those Ironwood Golems. I assume this Wrath will almost always be cycled, so he might as well get it done while he has the mana. One thing that the Shudderwalk Shaman can do, aside from getting the super early combo, is to maybe mess with the Witching Hour pool with the use of cards like Hex. So that is something that Kuanet might consider, and because of the possibility of Hex, Cydonia definitely wants to save a Naturalize for the turn that Hadronox comes down.
Yeah, so he can do it all in one go. Hex
waits for no one.
Using Beast is a big thing. And I think I'm still surprised how much Taunt Druid we are seeing in recent times. I feel there's so many better Druid decks, but it does just fit in with the theme of this lineup.
I feel that every viable Druid has its loyal legion of followers. Like
yes.
Malygos Druid has inspired something almost akin to a cult of people who love the deck, and I would actually fall into that category of Druid decks that I love most. But Token Druid also has many people who are very, who have a lot of expertise in playing that. And Taunt Druid has its merits just because you can play Master Oakheart in it.
Yeah, Master Oakheart, I feel we haven't seen the last of that card. There's a lot more still to come. We've got another expansion on the way in a couple of months, and whatever cards are released, it's going to fit in with something.
That's true. It's just crazy that you can have a 3-card opening that can win you literally any matchup.
Yes.
Wild Growth, Nourish, Oakheart, if you're on coin, it's so hard to lose. So that's why I guess Taunt Druid has never completely left the meta for the past few months.
Those decks are also, I know we have a lot of stats sites and things now, but they're notoriously unreliable in terms of win percentages. You have to make your own decisions. They're really good for mulligan decisions. But it doesn't amaze me. Everyone sees something different when they play a deck. I know people call it a high roll deck. So some people play the deck 100 times and just get the Oakheart thing like 20 times more than their friends who played it the same times. And they'll have different opinions, oddly enough, at the end of that.
Coinat finally getting something done here, finds the perfect board to actually not only clear off the minions from Sidonia, but get the full 3 draws from his Acolyte, not overdraw while doing so, and he has not picked up Saronite or Grumble yet, so it's still a ways off the combo, but looks like Sidonia's card draw has actually been pretty bad throughout past couple turns. He'd really like to hit the second Nourish or Branching Paths. Otherwise, Coinat might just have the time here.
Yeah, the downside of the Taunt Druid, when it doesn't do its broken things particularly well, is you've got a handful of 9 drops, and no matter how quickly you ramped up there, you can only play one of those a turn and very little left over. So decks like Shaman aren't particularly scared of A4-12 one thing at a time. Until Oakheart appears, this is just not terrifying enough.
Yeah, Coinat with the second Hex can answer the fortunate draw for Sidonia there. Even if another big minion were to come out, the next Volcano can handle that. So Sidonia effectively needs to draw into 2 threats. Okay, Dragon Hatcher puts one of the Primordial Drakes onto the board and thins out the deck a bit.
He needs it quickly though. Chain Gang has been picked up now for Coinat, so he can actually start doing his aggressive part of his game plan rather than just hanging in there drawing cards.
Yeah, and the thing is that Coinat was actually able to hex both of those Sleepy Dragons, which puts a lot less good taunts into the pool. Although Sidonia might just have to pull the trigger on Hadronox the next turn. The thankful thing for him is that he saw both Hex, so he maybe would not have to naturalize the Hadronox immediately if he doesn't feel the need to.
That's a big deal. He's now seen the Earthshot as well. But in the meantime, Coinat's getting more and more cards out of the mana tide, and that is often the way you judge who is winning when Shadowlong's playing at all. Is they get 2 or 3 cards out of mana tide totem, they can swing any matchup around.
True enough.
So this turn for Sidonia is more about planning than the actual turn. He needs to work out how long he thinks he has, rather than just chucking his swipe away.
I feel like we might see a full board clear from Sidonia here. You can do that with the swipe, Spellstone, and trade. Oh, it's not completely. With the hero power, I think he's able to clear off the Zola. So yeah, this does actually work out. You might Spellstone the Saronite and kill off the Mana Tide to save health, but maybe this way he just doesn't want to use a Spellstone.
Looks that way the way he's cleared it, and that means he's going for the thing that you can sometimes do to Shadowwalk, although he's still thinking now.
Try to burn something?
Yeah, just make it awkward. You don't really end up burning things very often, but you make it really hard work. They have to play super suboptimally.
It's true. Coinat has drawn so much in his deck already that Sidonia feels that maybe just getting rid of the Mana Tide is not going to be enough to win him the game. He instead has to hope that the one remaining minion on board, which is drawing cards, will prevent Coinat from doing effective Grumble turns or something. But unfortunately for him,
Grumble comes in just nick of time a couple of turns ago. But Coinat's trying to work out, it's always hard to know your own mind. Your opponent does this and you're like, oh, they're trying to leave the Mana Tide up. But sometimes you sit there and you go, you know what? I don't mind this, I'll just leave it there and draw some more cards, thanks. But he does decide to return it.
I wake once more.
So Kunat there had the option to go Saraneg and then Grumble, but that would mean that he would overdraw something. And I guess he would still want to get Life Drinkers into the pool. So it's important that he didn't get too greedy with the Saranites there.
So having done that now, Sidonia, that was like a stalling turn almost. It was like, okay, I haven't got much of a plan. I know I'll just do the Mana Tide thing that we do. Picking up the Dragon Hatcher has given him an okay play, but it's nothing exciting. There's only one Primordial left in the deck.
Yes, that is the last Dragon, and the Dragon Hatcher will pull it. And Sidonia here is just going to spend one Naturalize onto the Grumble already. I think it makes sense. Not only does it protect his Primordial there, but it plays into his game plan of maybe trying to overdraw something important.
Second change down is kind of important.
Yeah.
Going to give the Shudderwock much more chance of failing.
That is very true. It gives Sidonia a possible out for maybe fatiguing Kuonet if the Shudderwock whiffs. But there was a Zola played though, so Shudderwock might get more than one chance.
Yeah. If Kuonet can empty his hand out.
Yes.
As it stands, Shudderwock's a long way off. Not because so much of the combo pieces, but just because...
Ooh. Wow, that is really unlucky.
So many reasons about that being unlucky. It's not in the Taunt pool, it's not in the Beast pool.
Man, that means there's only, after the Hadronox comes down, only one other Beast, which is the first Hex that died off. So Wishing Hours have a 50-50 chance instead of 1 in 3. It's a big deal. And these discrepancies between 50-50 and 1 in 3 is also the difference of Shudderwock going off or not.
Yes. So both those two things are starting to go Sidonia's way. And we're talking about that as if the Shudderwock's going to go off. I mean, Sidonia slowly but surely has been getting control of the board anyway in the last few turns. Yeah. It seems like the Shudderwock's going to go off. Only 4 cards left in the deck for Kuonet. But it's not going to do much right now.
Yeah. Can't remember how many Life Drinkers have been played.
I think it might be 0.
Yeah.
But
so
I'm doubting myself because there's 4 cards left.
I also feel like it's 0, but you know, sometimes they are just at the bottom there. And Sidonia with the Nourish is able to pick up a Witching Hour now, so doesn't have an immediate proc for Hadronox in the form of Naturalize anymore though.
Sidonia.
Blackjar, what are you doing?
I love you. Thank you so much.
Whoa, Jazz, what the frickety frick? Whoa! Whoa!
The whole gifting subs thing, that is magical.